What is up, saints, friends, and others? Welcome to the King's Dominion podcast, the official podcast of Dominion Church and Dominion Institute.
Have you ever clarified what is the others?
Joel asks me all the time, and now I have to do it again because you interrupted me.
Oh, yeah?
What is up, saints, friends, and others? Welcome to the King's Dominion podcast, the official podcast of Dominion Church and Dominion Institute. I'm your host, Josh Wyatt, and now,
Oh, yeah?
my wife, my co-host, Hope Wyatt. Joel asks me all the time who the
What was
others
your
are.
answer?
I told him, I feel like I told the last time that he asked, I said, if you have to wonder if you're the others, you probably are. That's probably where we're going to leave that, you know? You're either a saint or a friend, and if
Or
you're
another.
wondering if I'm one of the others, then
You're
we're talking about you,
If the
G.
shoe fits.
It's all you. That's
If
it.
the boot fits.
If the boot fits. Is that what Woody said?
Yep.
Our kids love Toy Story. And so, literally, yeah, if the boot fits. Anyways, yeah, too much. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's the best explanation I've got.
Good
You
one.
know, honestly, forever ago, I'm gonna give myself away. Forever ago, like when I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
there was a like this was so old it was on Vine. There was a Vine person that opened
Vine.
every Vine with "What's up, saints, friends, and others." And I don't
Oh,
even know
really?
if he's popular anymore.
What if it's copyrighted?
I don't think "saints, friends, and others" is copyrighted. Those are 3 words in the English language that are open to use.
Open to the
But
public.
I've been using that phrase, like I've been using
Yeah.
it for years, but
You
I've
have
been
been.
using that phrase ever
Yeah.
since I heard him say it when I was like 14, and I just thought it was cool. And now you're making me feel like I'm not cool.
You're cool.
So I am cool.
If you think so.
Oh, stop. Anyways, we are. I was about to say I'm glad to have you on the podcast again this
Oh,
week.
yeah? Oh, really?
I'm rethinking my entire life choices as we're talking about our
whatever.
story. I'm just rethinking everything. Apparently, no.
Let me know what your conclusion is.
Hush. So, look, all these chillins. It's a little. We into a little too deep now. We. I love you.
I love you.
Anyways, you are back this
Yes,
week. You had
yes.
not been on for a second. We talked
Right.
about that last week. How you had not been on for a second, and you've been with the chillins,
Yep.
the children, all of our children,
All these
our oldest,
boys.
and we said we're gonna bring them on a podcast. Maybe not all 4 at one time.
I wouldn't.
Maybe let them take turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let Trey bring his monster truck
Yeah.
and share with everyone about the monster truck.
He'll want to bring Gravedigger.
Yep. Grave digger.
Digger.
Yeah. And then let Sam bring a cookie.
Leave Sam and his cookies alone.
He our big boy.
He loves a cookie. He
He's
was
stocky.
I was putting him down for a nap, but he was half asleep. And then I tried to get out of the bed, and he said, "Cookie?"
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, fine, get up. We'll get some cookies."
Yeah. He'll bring me the pack of Oreos and be like, "He go, Dada. He go, Dada," because he wants me to open them.
Open,
Yeah.
open cookies.
Open. Yep. Yeah. And then we'll let Arthur and Asher come and just stare because that's what they do.
I guess they'll be
They're
6 months. They want to grab everything and chew on it and see.
Yep.
You know,
So we've
what's
got
this?
a 3-year-old, a 1.5-year-old, and
6 month
twins. And so
Yeah.
all these kids, and what a beautiful life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living a dream. But anyways, you are on the podcast again, and I told
Yes.
you we want to make this happen more often and need to make it happen more often. But you are on the podcast again because we are discussing what is happening on Monday.
Our anniversary.
Yes, 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
the number of completion. So it's complete. We done.
Okay, goodbye.
I'm kidding. And 8 is the number of new beginnings. So let's start over.
Okay.
And so anyway, that's prophetic. Never mind. But prophetic mumbo jumbo.
Mumbo jumbo.
That part. But all of that to say 7 years. We celebrate 7
Yeah.
years of marriage on Monday. And we were just talking last week about kind of our story and
Mm-hmm.
the way that the Lord brought us together. And it was the Lord
Yeah.
that brought us together. I used to think I wanted to be like single my whole life because wasn't nobody saved enough for me.
Well, my goodness, he was going to wash your clothes.
I would have learned. I would have learned.
Oh, yeah?
I can do things on my own. I just prefer to not to. Mm. But anyways, I told my Mimi one time, I said, I'm going to just be like the Apostle Paul.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to just be like the Apostle Paul, and I'm going to be single. He said it's better to be single anyways. That's what he said in the Bible.
I know he said that.
But anyways, he would say that because he's single. But that's like when Moses wrote, because Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And I think it's Exodus or Deuteronomy, he says, Moses, the most humble man who ever lived, written by Moses. If you got to write about yourself that you're the most humble man that ever lived, are you really that humble? I don't know. But
that's funny.
Anyways, I told my Mimi one time, I said, I'm going to just be like the Apostle Paul. I'm going to just stay single. And she looked at me and she said, God's got a helpmate for you. Mm-hmm. And she'll complete you, and she will complete your ministry, and she will be a help to you in your ministry. And I was like 14, 15. I was like, nah, I'm going to just keep doing my thing. I'm going to just preach, pray, prophesy, lay hands on the sick, raise the dead, and go all over the world and do it. And then the Lord snuck up on me with the most beautiful, perfect person on the face of the planet, my best friend. And so we talked last week about that. Yeah. And the reason we felt it, fun or necessary or important to talk about our story is for 2 reasons. There may be people that you're single and you're like me and you're like, no, I'm going to just chill. Like, they're never coming. They're never on the way, God has somebody for you. And when they get there, they'll be worth every wrong person that you ever had to put up with. Every no that God said. Every time God said that's not the one, it's because he knew the one was on the way and he didn't want you to settle. And so for the single people that you're like, well, that's easy for you to say, you got married at 19. I get it. But there is one for you, And we just speak that to you right now, that there is a person for you that will assist in the call that's on your life, and will be an asset to you and to your life, your ministry, your work, your family. It's going to be exactly what you need. However, for those that are married that might be going through tough times, sometimes you got to fight to stay married. Yeah. And if that's the case, the Lord is faithful, and he's been faithful with us, and he'll be faithful with you. And so we just wanted people tell their testimonies about other things. Yeah. And so this is a testimony. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy, meaning when I'm sharing my testimony about what God's done for us in our relationship, it's prophesying over the airwaves what God is able to do for you in your relationship. And so we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so we're overcoming today, talking about how far God's brought us in our marriage and getting ready to celebrate 7 years. And we're going to celebrate it by going out of town and having a great time, spending time with each other. But I think on the last episode, we got all the way up to the point that I broke up with you. And then
you did do that.
Yeah, we know. And we're done talking about it. And then in February, see, you have to just go back because I'm on timelines. You don't even know what we're talking about. February 2017, I started pursuing again heavily. And I started pursuing by going to your youth group. You were a youth leader.
You stalked me.
No. You were a youth leader at Northport Church of God.
Yeah.
And I was a youth, because remember that age difference, that very dramatic, insane age difference, right? And so about this point, I'm like 17, you're 19.
I wasn't 19 yet.
You were getting ready to turn 19 in April.
Yeah. So I wasn't 19.
And this was in March.
Leave it alone.
So anyways, I started going to the youth group that you were serving in and cutting my charm on. And you wanted to hate me, and here's the problem. You wanted everybody else to hate me. But my personality is too good. And so all of your little friends wanted to be friends with me. I'm telling you, I befriended all of your friends. Yeah. Your youth pastor liked me better than you. Straight up.
Your personality is better than mine.
I have a good personality. And so anyways, you struggled with that, like would not speak to me. How long do you think you did that? Because we were talking by March, but how long do you think you did that?
A good month.
Yeah, like I would say hey at youth group, and you would walk in the other direction.
The other way.
Would not be around me, and it was like you were in so much rebellion.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yes, resisting the plan of God for your life. You know what?
What?
You ready?
What?
I bet you had a Jezebel spirit.
Oh dear, my goodness!
I'm kidding. Anyways, he was in such rebellion, and so eventually we started talking, and that developed into a friendship, which you kind of held out against. But, my personality, And we talked every day from the time we woke up to the time we went to sleep. And ultimately, now we weren't back together officially yet. We just were friends. No, because you had
broken up with me.
Yeah, but we just were friends. But we would talk all the time.
Yeah. You
would get up at 4 or something?
Yeah,
to
about
get to work at Chick-fil-A?
When I had to work at Chick-fil-A at 6.
This is how you know I love you, because I don't be doing early mornings. I would wake up.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go to school. I don't have to wake up for school till 6:30. You had to clock in at what? 6?
6.
Yeah.
Most days.
I would wake up with you in my bed, but like you're in Gordo, 45 minutes away. I'd wake up and call you.
Yeah.
And sit on the phone with you from 4:30 until the time you pull up to Chick-fil-A, 5:45, like while you're putting your makeup on, while you're getting ready. And then while you're driving from Gordo to Northport, I would sit and talk to you. You'd clock in, and then I'd get up and get ready for school.
Yeah.
And so we would talk nonstop. But you wouldn't make the jump to make it official because you were holding out for something. Yeah. Now, I always tell this part of your story, but I feel like it's better coming from you. When did the Lord tell you that about your feet? And
you make it sound weird.
I'm just saying, I always tell this part of the story, and this was such a part of your story that you've not told.
This was a very key, I guess, moment in my life.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what house we lived in so I can figure out my age.
Growing up, your family.
Yeah, in my family. So we lived in that one house. I was probably 14, maybe 15. I don't think I had my license yet. So I think I was 14 or 15. But, all these, every 14, 15-year-old girl, dreams of their husband. And so I was just, I was really close to the Lord, and, we were just talking about my husband and stuff. And I never wanted to be the person that, you date someone for years and then y'all break up. And so that's like years of your time, almost wasted on the wrong person. I never wanted to do that. And I didn't want to fall in love and get my heart broken over and over and over. And so I did not want to have to do that. So I had always wanted, to whoever I fall in love with, that's going to be my husband forever. I want to know, because I was not, I didn't want to get into all that. So I told the Lord, I was like, look, I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to get hurt over and over. So when you send my husband to me, I'll know that he's my husband because he'll wash my feet. And why I did wash my feet, I don't have a clue. I don't know. That's just, maybe I was reading the story of when she washed Jesus' feet. I don't know. But also, that's the most humbling way to serve somebody. Right. But anyway, so, I told the Lord, I'll know that this is my husband if they wash and pray for my feet. And, just said that as a little girl, as a preteen, I guess. And it just stuck with me, all throughout my teenage years, teenage years are teenage years. Right. But I still held on to that I would know who my husband was if they washed my feet. And
and I inadvertently, the thing you just said that you were always afraid of, you didn't want to do, you didn't want to date and then get heartbroken and yada, yada, yada. I had inadvertently done that the first time we were together.
I wasn't heartbroken.
Yes, you were.
I knew you were coming back around.
Anyways. So that being said, when
that's why I was more cautious.
I did come back around, she was like, I will not officially date you.
Right.
Like that was your thing. And you wouldn't tell me what it was, because then I'd know and I'd just do it, But you said, I've talked to the Lord about something.
Yeah.
And my husband will know from God and will do this thing. And if you don't know and haven't done it, you're not him.
Yeah.
And so we can be friends, but it'll have to be confirmed to me that you are my husband, because me and God have talked.
Yeah.
And so was that the most theologically sound way to do that? Probably not. But, the Lord honored your faith.
Yeah.
And where you were at. So I was preaching, which just feels like that moved really quick, because this was in May. Mm-hmm. We had never visited this church that I was preaching in until March, April, because it was a Good Friday service that we visited for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, come May, I'm preaching a revival there.
Yeah, that did happen quick.
That was rather quick.
It was my dad and stepmom's church.
Right. And so I'm preaching on a Sunday night, and I mean the Holy Ghost come in the room.
Yeah.
I think I laid hands on the whole room, and everybody was in the floor. It was insane the way that the Spirit of God moved.
Yeah.
And now He doesn't always move in these demonstrative, spectacular ways, but it was demonstrative and spectacular, and the Lord was demonstrating His power.
Yeah.
In an evident way. And the fire of the Holy Ghost come in my hands. And I showed you, I said, my hands are red and hot, and I'm laying hands on people. And before I'm getting to them, they're hitting the floor. And it just was spectacular the way that God was moving in that service. And without thinking anything about it or knowing anything about it or literally thinking, everybody's in the floor. And I grabbed the oil. I ain't got a thing of water. I grabbed the oil and I got on my knees in front of you, poured oil on your feet, and started praying over your feet.
You walked over to me and you said, take your shoes off. And so I took my shoes off. I have my sandals on. And you said, I don't have stuff to wash your feet, but I have this. And then you just got on your hands and knees.
I got on my hands and knees and I started praying for your feet and prophesying over your feet. And I remember saying that these feet will walk all over the world and carry the gospel, that they're beautiful feet, because beautiful are the feet of those that carry the good news, that these feet will walk beside me for the rest of my life, that I'll walk all over the world and I'll look down and see these feet right beside mine. And I started prophesying over, just you and our life together.
Yeah.
And there were spectacular things happening in that season. Are you crying?
No.
There were spectacular things happening in that season. And are you sure? Because your eyes is glassy. But anyways.
Yours are glassy.
Well, I mean, I love you. So anyways, there were spectacular things happening in that season. So it was not abnormal I started feeling water dripping on my head.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I feel the rain of the Spirit. Like I'm feeling in the Spirit. Like it's a supernatural experience. I looked up and you're like bawling your eyes out. Like
I was sobbing.
Crying. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I come up, I hug you. And that night we made it official that we were actually going to date and that we were going to be together. And all of heaven rejoiced when we got back together.
And I finally told you I loved you, because I was not going to say it.
For 2 months, 3 months,
I knew that I loved you, but I was not going to say anything until I knew that you were going to be my husband.
I would say I love you, and you would go, I care about you too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you were so rebellious.
Oh my goodness.
But anyways, that was May of 2017.
Yeah.
And then I hoteled to Honduras for 6 weeks that summer.
Yeah, you did. Which
was a difficult 6 weeks for you. But got back. The following May, I graduated high school. Graduated high school in May of 2018. July of 2018, we got engaged.
Yeah.
I was in high school when I asked my mom to go to the ring place with me.
Get a ring.
Let her go to Reed's.
Yeah.
And my mom looked at me and she said, "You love her?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." I'm crying. I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." And she said, "No, baby, you love her?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." And she said, "Okay." Because I ain't got no credit, no nothing, I'm like 17 years old at the time when I picked out a ring. And, oh, my eyes, I look high. I ain't high, I'm in love. Anyways, because we don't do that. We holiness or hell. But anyways, she said, "You love her?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Okay." So my mom went and financed the ring, and I worked at Winn-Dixie.
Yeah. And
paid her $50 a month onto her Reed's account.
Yeah.
And paid off the ring by the time that we, I think I proposed with a financed ring. I don't think it was paid off, but it was paid off by the time we got married, I think.
Yeah, because towards the end you upped your payments.
I think my income tax hit or something, and I threw a whole bunch out of it. But I was working at Winn-Dixie and paid for your ring, and it was, like I said, got married the following year, but I graduated high school in May, and 2 months later, 7/7/18, July 7th of 2018, got engaged. And it was the following March the 2nd that we got married. And the morning of our wedding was supernatural. The morning of our wedding, we met at crack 30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's super early.
Yes. And I washed your feet again.
Yeah.
And you washed my feet, and we prayed over each other, and we had a time of worship privately. And then at our wedding, we took communion. Our wedding was so supernatural. The Lord was in the room. People walked out of our wedding convicted and got saved in the parking lot.
Yeah.
There was a back that got healed in our wedding.
Yeah.
Like sitting in our wedding. They came in with back pain. We were like on our honeymoon,
and we were getting messages
testimonies
from
of what God had done at our wedding. Because we had live worship at our wedding. We took communion at our wedding. It just was supernatural.
Yeah.
The wedding was supernatural. And people said that, God loves love. God is love. And it's God that brings two people together for kingdom work. so that they can be together and do what God's called them to do for eternity. You know, God is a God of covenant, and God instituted and instigated the marriage covenant. And so when love is on display, the glory of the Lord will fill the room. Yeah. And so just as one person said, not even during worship, that as we were making our vows to each other, they started feeling oil go down their back, and their back was completely healed from back pain. And so, like, insane stuff. We were on our honeymoon getting testimonies of what God had done in our wedding. And then we came home. Our wedding, at the end of our honeymoon, you were sick.
Yeah, I got the flu, something terrible. We had to come home early because I was dying.
It was bad. But we came home and we moved into our tiny house.
Our tiny house.
It was a tiny, tiny, tiny house on my parents' property. Yeah. 2 rooms. One room was a living room kitchen. The other room was bedroom, bathroom. And that was it. That was what we had. And at the time, there were other people we knew that were getting married and buying houses, and other people that were getting married, and at least they were in 2 or 3 bedroom apartments and nice apartment complexes. And we were in a tiny house that we lived in for free because we were getting ready. And we'll talk more about that if we come back. You may have to come back in a couple weeks after we get home from our trip and do a couple more episodes. We'll talk marriage. But I remember I wanted to give you more than, I wanted to give you what you deserved. That's what I've always wanted to do. But yet here we are in a tiny house, sharing a car. Yeah. Because the Lord dealt with us to sow your car. And so I had a car, and you had an older car, and the Lord dealt with us to sow your car.
Yeah, to give it away.
And I'm in a tiny house, and we're sharing one car, so I'm taking you to work and picking you up.
And our hot water only lasted like 8 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. There's no oven. There was no oven, horrible.
No dishwasher.
It was horrible,
no washer,
y'all.
dryer.
It was horrible.
We had an air fryer.
Yeah.
We had a griddle.
Yeah. You made the best meals in that tiny house. But
we made it work.
We made it work. Us and our Great Dane.
Yeah.
And who is R.I.P. Joe.
He is at the right hand of the Father.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Stop. Anyways,
that's what I tell everyone.
I'm so done with you. Anyways, I remember looking at you because you deserve so much better than me, and you deserve so much better than that house and sharing a car, and we couldn't hardly go out to eat. It was bad. And we made sacrifices because the Lord had called us to go to Rhema. And so we were saving up all of our money. We sold a car. We were selling a bunch of stuff, and we were getting ready to make the move to Tulsa. And I remember looking at you, and you never said you wanted more. And you'll probably argue with me, but I knew you did. I knew you wanted a little more, and you were kind of comparing yourself to other people and kind of what they had. Or maybe I felt that. Maybe you never felt that way. But I felt that I needed to have given you more. And I'll never forget, we were in the tiny house, ran out of hot water, didn't have no food. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. And I looked at you. We were sitting in the bed, and I looked at you, and I said, "This is bad." And you said, "I know." And I said, "I know this is not what you deserve." Do you remember me saying this? I cry every time I say this phrase. I said, "I know this is not what you deserve, and you deserve so much more. But if you'll stick with me and we'll be faithful to the Lord, God will give us all the desires of our heart, and I'll put you in the nicest car, and I'll put you in the nicest house, and I'll make it worth it, and the Lord will make it worth it to us. There will come a day that you can have nice things." And I said, "I promise." "I promise." And you cried, and you said, "Okay." Because this is not the American dream. Getting married and moving into a tiny house and not having any money and sharing one car, that's not the American dream. But what if God's dream for you and your marriage doesn't look like what you expected it to, or what your cousin or your sister or your brother or their marriage looks like? Step 1, marriage 101, stop comparing your marriage to other people's marriage. God has a plan for you and for your marriage and for what you're called to do. And our path was different than other people's paths, and other people's paths took them in different directions. Yeah. But for us, I said, we've got to obey the Lord. And now we live in a 2,800 square foot house, 5 bedrooms. I'm not saying that to brag. God did that. Yeah. Absolutely. We drive a nice car. We get to vacation. We go on vacation next week. We get to vacation. You have purses that cost an ungodly amount that you deserve. Every last bit of them, Anything you want. Have you ever, and I'm not saying this brag on me, I'm just genuine question. Have you ever asked me for anything that you've not been able to get it at some point? We live the dream. I have stood on the top of the world with you in New York City in Times Square. We have stood on top of Nairobi, Kenya.
Yeah.
I can't wait to take you to Tokyo. The last 2 times I've ministered in Japan, you haven't been able to go, but I'm going to take you next time.
Yeah, we keep having babies.
Well, I won't get you pregnant this year. I promise, okay? But anyways, I mean, we have traveled all over the world and done crazy stuff. And now we have 4, like you mentioned.
4 little boys.
Beautiful little boys, the most handsome little boys on the face of the planet. I'm living the dream. But the Holy Ghost led me into the dream.
Absolutely.
And I didn't compare what he was leading me into to what other people had or I thought I should have had. We could have taken different jobs and bought a house and been out of the will of God. Been out of the will of God.
Well, and the thing is now that we have always been so good to, follow God and follow God quickly. Yes, we're so blessed now because we've been obedient in every single step. But like I said in class the other day, if God told us to pack up our little boys and move back into that little house, we would do it and we would love it. And we would make it work as long as it's us.
Yeah. I'd go anywhere with you.
Yeah.
If the Lord led us, I would go anywhere with you. And that's the thing is on our wedding day, I don't know if you remember this, but I repeat it sometimes. One of the vows that I made to you is I said, as long as you're on my side and I'm on your side and God's on our side, we can do anything. Mm-hmm. This is where the enemy gets into marriage. He tries to get you to come off of the side of your spouse and get off against them. Yeah. I'm never against them. It's me and you against the devil.
Right.
Me and you against deception. Me and you against a misunderstanding. Because most of your arguments as a married couple, it's just a misunderstanding. Quit making the other person the bad person. Get on the same team and try to understand each other and follow the Lord. As long as I'm on your side, you're on my side, God's on our side, there ain't nothing we can't do and no place we can't go. And we're living the dream.
Yeah.
So that would be my encouragement to you. Allow the Holy Ghost to lead you into something that he has designed for you. The plan of God for your life and for your marriage.
Yeah.
And allow it to be fruitful and successful, but always stay on the same team. And I just feel like there's more things we have to say. So the next time we come back, you're going to come?
Sure
You're already accepting my invitation?
I'll accept your invitation. We got to talk to the grandparents.
We got to talk and get some childcare situated.
We have to get permission to go.
Until then, single people, married couples, whoever you are, we're praying for you. We love you. God bless you. And we will see you next time.